And good morning, everybody, and welcome to PhillyBurbs.com's report on Game 2 of the 2009 World Series. This series heads back to Philadelphia even in a game apiece after the Yankees' 3-1 victory over the Phillies here on Thursday night. Mike, I think the one thing I took from this game was the Yankees were able to capitalize on the few opportunities they had. Obviously the Teixeira home run on kind of a hanger. A great job by Hideki Matsui on his home run ball. And then they generated that one offense. The Phillies just could not get it going off A.J. Burnett.
No, Pedro Martinez was terrific. A.J. Burnett was great. And that's the reason the Phillies lost this game tonight. I mean, you have to admire Pedro Martinez and what he did tonight, the way he pitched. It says 6 innings, 3 runs, but he was really better than that. He threw a bad pitch to Mark Teixeira. He threw a pretty good pitch to Hideki Matsui, and they both ended up leaving the yard. I don't think you can fault Charlie Manuel for sending him back out there in the 7th and staying with him as long as he did. I think you ride a pitcher in this situation as long as you can. The Phillies lost the game. It was unrealistic to think they were going to sweep the Yankees, and they might yet lose this series. So we're in store we're going to be here a while, let's put it that way.
Okay, let's start though with some second guessing. Okay, and the main thing in the 8th inning, Shane Victorino and Jimmy Rollins on base, 1 out. Chase Utley up off Mariano Rivera. Would you have sent the runners to try to get them both in scoring position so Utley and Howard have a shot to knock them out?
I would have. The likelihood that Utley's going to line into a double play, even if you send the runners, are pretty remote. Mariano throws a heavy ball. It's likely he's going to get a ground ball, and as we saw, that's what ended up happening. Myself, I would have started the runners. You can understand, that second guessing on that part. As far as leaving Pedro in the game, I don't second guess Charlie on that. We know what kind of shape the Phillies bullpen has been in. Pedro was not pitching badly by any stretch of the imagination. 2 weeks ago we were screaming that he should have left Pedro in the 8th inning against the Dodgers. You can't then very well say should have pulled him after 5 tonight.
The other thing that was a subject of kind of debate was the umpire. Brian Gorman and I had a rough night at first base. First of all, on the line drive that ended the 7th inning for the Yankees, on the line drive double play, caught by Ryan Howard, or ruled catch by Ryan Howard, a clear short hop. The other one was actually on the Utley double play ball that we're talking about in the 8th. Replay's kind of inconclusive whether Utley's foot hit the bag before Teixeira had control of the ball. Which leads to the question, is baseball, after the way this whole postseason has gone, do they need to really reevaluate their umpiring and possibly instant replay for the postseason?
There are a number of factors at play here, Kevin. Number one, you have a number of Major League Baseball's best umpires are unavailable to umpire in this series and throughout the playoffs because of injuries and illness and things like that. Number two, you have an umpires union which managed to collectively bargain that the best umpires, based on grading over the course of the regular season, can't umpire World Series and playoff series back-to-back years, which is utterly ridiculous. Third, you have the prevalence of television cameras and media, so that baseball is going to have a credibility problem if they don't eventually implement an instant replay to a greater degree, I think, because you're going to get second guessing all the time, which is what we've had in this postseason. Never mind the fact that the umpiring has been incompetent at times, it's the fact that now everybody knows they're incompetent at times, and that's a credibility issue that baseball is going to have to address.
Baseball Commissioner Bud Selig talked about this topic today, said that he does not favor instant replay expansion in any form beyond what it is now, which is fair foul on home run calls. So it is not a...
But Bud Selig, to a great degree, is trapped in the 1950s, so it doesn't surprise me that he doesn't favor moving instant replay.
Wait a minute, though. Let's be fair to Bud. Bud has expanded the playoffs, and I think everybody would agree that's been successful. The game has grown under Bud. The revenues have grown under Bud.
Yeah, so have the players, thanks to steroid use.
Okay, you can't argue that one. So this series heads back to Philadelphia. It's going to be Andy Pettitte, the wily lefty. Wiley is the official term for
crafty.
old.
Crafty is the official word for left-handers.
And wily is the term for old, usually. So against
we're all about our euphemisms here.
Against Cole Hamels, so it's really been inconsistent. On Halloween night, we'll be trick-or-treat with Hamels.
I think it's going to be trick. I have very little confidence in Cole Hamels at this point in the playoffs. Each of his outings has gone the same, which is to say that at some point before the 6th inning, he implodes, gives up a home run, gives up a bunch of hits in a row, walks the pitcher, does something that kind of leads to a meltdown, and he ends up with having given up 4 runs in 5 innings or something like that. you know, if you're the Phillies, you can't feel real good about your chances going into Game 3, given Pettit's experience and given the way Hamels has pitched this postseason.
So we head back home. You're thinking we'll probably be back here. What was your favorite Yankee Stadium memory of the first two days of this World Series?
Does watching the 2 games from a cafeteria count? You know what I would say, which was pretty cool? Sitting down waiting, we were delayed on our way to the Phillies clubhouse after this game because George Steinbrenner's limo, or whatever it was, minivan, we had to wait for it to pull out. And while we were standing there waiting, who walks by but Kate Hudson and Kurt Russell, which is pretty cool. And standing next to me was Gary Smith from Sports Illustrated, who's probably the best sports writer in the country, and also a LaSalle grad like myself. So that was pretty cool. That was my best one.
Wow, LaSalle had a successful grad in Gary Smith.
You know, I could start singing a fight song right now and then kick your butt right on camera for the entire world to see.
The entire world? I've seen our hits. Anyway, we will be back on Saturday night for Game 3. And yes, we're going to have a special guest. You have to tune in. Mike has to tune in because Mike really doesn't know who it is right now either.
I'm going to be as surprised as you folks.
So tune in on Sunday morning for our next installment of the World Series video report for PhillyBurbs.com. For Mike Sielski, and I'm Kevin Cooney. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you back at home. Let's get on the turnpike.